South Korea's National Assembly votes to impeach acting President Han Duck-soo. Experts say the Azerbaijan Airlines plane that crashed on Wednesday might have been shot down by Russian air defense systems. And special New Year's Eve arrangements at some border crossings. Hello, happy Friday. You're watching TVB News. South Korea's opposition-controlled National Assembly has voted to impeach acting President Han Duck-soo despite protests by governing party lawmakers. This as the country's political crisis deepens in the wake of President Yoon Suk-yeol's short-lived martial law declaration and ensuing impeachment. Daniel Rao tells us more.
South Korea's single-chamber National Assembly passed acting President Han Duck-soo's impeachment motion with a 192-0 vote. The impeachment motion accused him of collaborating and abetting Yoon Suk-yeol's declaration of martial law on December 3rd. It also accused Han of attempting to obstruct the restoration of the South Korean Constructional Court's full membership and of delaying investigations into Yoon's alleged rebellion by not appointing independent counsels. Lawmakers with the governing People Power Party, or PPP, boycotted the vote and surrounded the podium where Assembly Speaker Woo Won-shik was seated. They shouted the vote was invalid and demanded Woo's resignation. No violence or injuries were reported. The PPP lawmakers protested after Woo called for a vote on Han's impeachment motion after announcing its passage required a simple majority in the 300-member Assembly. This instead of a two-thirds majority as claimed by the PPP. Most South Korean officials can be impeached by the National Assembly with a simple majority vote, but a president's impeachment needs the support of two-thirds. There are no specific laws in South Korea on the impeachment of an acting president. In a statement, Han called his impeachment regrettable. However, he said he respects the Assembly's decision and will suspend his duties to not add to additional confusion and uncertainty. Han said he'll wait for a swift, wise decision by the Constitutional Court. Han's powers were officially suspended after the copies of his impeachment document were delivered to him and the Constitutional Court. Han's impeachment comes following numerous clashes with South Korea's main liberal opposition Democratic Party. He pushed back against opposition-led efforts to fill 3 vacant seats on the South Korean Constitutional Court, establish an independent investigation into Yoon's martial law decree, and legislate pro-farmer bills. Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok is next in line to take over as South Korea's acting president. This comes as South Korean investigative agencies probe whether Yoon committed rebellion and abuse of power with his martial law decree. Dan Rao, TV News.
Aviation experts have said that an Azerbaijan Airlines plane that crashed in Kazakhstan, killing 38 people on board Wednesday, most likely went down after being hit by Russian air defense systems. The plane crashed while trying to land in Aktau after flying east across the Caspian Sea, which was not on its official route. But Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev said the weather had forced the plane to change from its planned course. Tracy Furness has more.
Emergency vehicles, military trucks and helicopters could be seen at the crash site as a second black box was found and handed over to investigators. The Azerbaijan Airlines flight J28243 was en route from the Azerbaijani capital of Baku to the Russian city of Grozny in the North Caucasus when it was diverted due to weather issues. But the plane crashed in a ball of fire near the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan. Holes were seen in the tail section of the downed plane. Azerbaijan's president said it was too soon to speculate on the cause of the crash, but Russian military expert Yan Matveyev has outlined what he believes could have been the cause that led to the crash. The plane was damaged by something very similar to an anti-aircraft missile, and it is really very difficult to assume anything else without some serious evidence, he said.
It was going into Grozny. There was a drone attack either underway or in the previous hours. There was radar jamming, which made it difficult for the airline crew to land. And by all accounts, they were hit by a missile. So we know what happened. We need to look carefully at why it happened, and most importantly, how to prevent it from reoccurring.
A plane carrying 7 of the 29 injured arrived in Kaydar Aliyev International Airport in Baku on Thursday evening, where they were rushed to hospital. Of the 67 people on board, 38 were killed in the crash. Azerbaijan observed a national day of mourning on Thursday. At Baku airport, officials stood at the entrance and staff and passengers inside observed a moment of silence. Queues of people laid flowers outside the airport and the national flags were lowered to half-mast across the country. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Israeli forces launched a massive barrage of strikes on Houthi targets in Yemen on Thursday. The attack killed at least 6 people and wounded more than 40 others. The Israel Defense Forces said strikes targeted Houthi-controlled military targets on Yemen's western coast and inland Yemen, including the capital, Sana'a. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who observed the attacks, said Israel is determined to eradicate the Houthis. World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus and his team were at Sana'a International Airport during the attacks, but were unharmed. The Israeli airstrikes came a day after the Houthis launched multiple long-range rocket and drone attacks on the Israeli cities of Tel Aviv and Ashkelon. India's former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, widely regarded as the architect of the country's economic reform program and a landmark nuclear deal with the United States, has died at the age of 92. Singh was admitted to a New Delhi hospital late on Thursday after his health deteriorated due to a sudden loss of consciousness at home. That's according to a statement released by the hospital. Described as a mild-mannered technocrat, Singh became one of India's longest-serving prime ministers for 10 years and earned the reputation as a man of great personal integrity. He was chosen to fill the role in 2004 by Sonia Gandhi and was elected for a second term from 2009 to 2014. Singh is survived by his wife and 3 daughters. President Xi Jinping will visit Russia in 2025, according to Russia's state-run media RIA news agency. The report cited Moscow's ambassador to Beijing as the source of information. The ambassador was quoted as saying, "What can be done is no secret in terms of priority. The chairman of the People's Republic of China is expected in Russia next year." China's foreign ministry did not immediately respond to a request for confirmation. Putin visited China in February 2022, proclaiming a no-limits partnership days before he sent tens of thousands of troops into Ukraine. The Russian president was in Beijing again last May after his re-election by a landslide, welcoming a new era of relations focusing on opposition to U.S. policy. Taiwan Peoples Party founder Ko Wen-je was indicted for corruption charges. He was granted 30 million Taiwan dollar bail after being in custody for more than 3 months. Ko was accused of helping Core Pacific Citigroup evade city building regulations in exchange for over 17 million Taiwan dollars, while Ko was the mayor of Taipei. Prosecutors say that saved the conglomerate billions of dollars. Ko was also said to have embezzled tens of millions in political donations. If convicted of all charges, he faces a possible 28.5 years in jail. Ko served as the mayor of Taipei from 2014 to 2022 and came third in January's election for the island's leadership position. He was arrested in August after investigators raided his home and party headquarters. Taiwan People's Party has only 8 lawmakers in the island's 113-seat parliament, but has an outsized role, as neither the ruling Democratic Progressive Party nor the largest opposition party, the Kuomintang, has a majority in the Legislative Yuan. On New Year's Eve, several border crossings connecting Hong Kong and Shenzhen will extend their opening hours. That comes after a consensus was reached between Hong Kong and Guangdong province, as well as the Shenzhen municipality. Passenger clearance services at the Lowu control point, which usually close at midnight, will be extended to 2 a.m. The operating hours of the MTR East Rail line will be extended accordingly, with the departure of the last East Rail line train from Admiralty to Lowu extended to 12:56 a.m. Also stepping up operations are the passenger and vehicle clearance services at the Shenzhen Bay control point. It will provide round-the-clock services. The 14th National People's Congress will open its third annual session on March 5th. Starry Lee, Hong Kong's sole delegate to the NPC Standing Committee, hopes the newly restored multi-entry permit scheme for Shenzhen residents will be extended to cover more cities in the Greater Bay Area. Jackie Lin has details.
Having returned from Beijing, Starry Lee attended a meeting of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, where multiple bills were deliberated. On whether Beijing will further relax the multi-entry permit scheme for Shenzhen residents, Lee has this to say.
With the close monitoring of the implementation, more and more cities in the Greater Bay Area, in particular, can have a more relaxed visa application procedures, so that more people from different cities in the Guangdong area can come to Hong Kong to visit.
Lee also commented on the police's move to step up punitive measures against 13 overseas activists on their wanted list.
I respect and support the decision made by the Security Bureau. I believe that they have consider all the relevant factors and make that decision.
At the NPCSC meeting, 3 bills were passed. They include the Value-Added Tax Law, the Supervision Law, and the Science and Technology Popularization Law. 7 other draft laws and amendments will be further scrutinized after seeking public comments. The 7 bills also include a draft revision of the Anti-Unfair Competition Law. It prohibits the use of data, algorithms, or platform rules by operators to engage in unfair competition, including malicious transactions. The bills are open to public comments until January 23rd next year. Jacqueline, TVB News.
Still ahead, a plan to expand the airport's autonomous transport system to cover the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge checkpoint and Tung Chung Town Center. Democratic Party founding chairman Martin Lee stripped of his Justice of the Peace title. And Sunbeam Theatre in North Point to close its doors in March next year. Welcome back. An autonomous transport system connecting the airport and the Hong Kong port of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge will be launched next year. The system will include driverless shuttles to carry passengers between the Mega Bridge checkpoint and 11 Skies shopping complex at Chek Lap Kok. Mimo Singhai reports.
Since 2019, the airport has been using driverless vehicles, including tractors and buses, to transport suitcases and airport employees in restricted areas. By the end of 2025, this grey 16-seater shuttle bus will be added to the airport autonomous vehicle fleet. Multiple cameras have been installed on the exterior of the bus for surveillance and analysis purposes.
They can detect any abnormality on the road. We have 4 different GPS supplied by China, US, Russia, and the Europe. We have 10 radar actually detect all the motion on the road, and so as the vehicle can react.
The bus will carry passengers between the 11 Skies shopping mall and the local checkpoint of the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. The journey will be around 3 minutes. The airport authority will introduce 26 buses in the first phase of the project, aiming to carry 500 travelers per hour. By 2028, the authority hopes to expand the bus service to include a new destination, Citygate in the heart of Dongchong. Its fleet of vehicles can carry 5,000 passengers per hour during the early stage, and the capacity will be increased to 8,000 later. When asked about the bus fare, the airport authority said it is still early to confirm the price, but they will make it reasonable. Mims 9, TVB News.
The government today stripped Democratic Party founding chairman Martin Lee's title of Justice of the Peace. Lee was given the title of JP in the 1980s. He was found guilty of participating in an unauthorized rally in August 2019. In 2021, Lee was given a jail sentence of 11 months, suspended for 2 years. He filed an appeal against the conviction but was unsuccessful. Social welfare academic Nelson Chow said the government should adjust the transport concession limit for senior citizens aged from 60 to below 65 to $700 per month. The suggestion came after the government's deficit for the current financial year was estimated to be about $100 billion. The government says it has no plan to cancel the concession scheme or change the age group applicable for the benefit. In a newspaper column, HKU's social work and social administration emeritus professor Nelson Chow said the government should reduce social welfare expenditure amid the financial deficit. Speaking of the $2 transport concession scheme for the elderly, Chow said those aged from 60 to below 65 should be given a monthly concession of $700. Chow said the relevant group will have a daily concession of $23.3. For those who are 65 or above, the academic said the concession arrangements should be maintained. Chow also suggested that authorities freeze the old age allowance, currently at $1,620 per month. He said the allowance has symbolic meanings only as a respectful gesture to the elderly. The mailbox at Sao Mau Ping post office is suspected to have been set on fire, resulting in damage to over 50 pieces of mail. It was reported that a cigarette butt was found inside the mailbox in a fire that occurred at around 7 a.m. Thick smoke was produced and firefighters extinguished it shortly after. No injuries were reported, but pieces of mail were burnt, soaked, and severely damaged. Damaged mail will be retained by the post office for further assessment. The post office temporarily suspended services but reopened around noon. The Sunbeam Theater, which has been in operation in North Point for over 50 years, will close on March 3rd next year. In a press conference held today at the theater, a veteran opera performer expressed her sadness and regret over its impending closure. Annette tells us more.
Opened in 1972, the Sunbeam Theater has long been known as the Hong Kong's Grand Palace for Cantonese opera. In a press conference today about her upcoming show, famous Cantonese opera singer Joyce Coy said she would miss the theater deeply. She said she loves that the Sunbeam Theater has historical elements in its architecture, from the design of the lobby to the red cinema chairs, adding that it gives the feel of Hong Kong back in the 1950s. She also said she will cry a lot when the theater closes, especially because there are limited venues in Hong Kong for opera performances. An opera enthusiast who has been traveling from Guangzhou to Hong Kong every month since 2015 to watch performances at the Sunbeam Theater also shared her disappointment about the upcoming closure. She said it's very unfortunate that the theater has to shut down, as its long history makes it an irreplaceable landmark. Opera singer Angel Leung agrees that the theater's long-standing time in Hong Kong is invaluable.
This Sunbeam Theatre, to most of us, is really a dream place because so many masters have been performing here in the past. Sunbeam Theatre will be in Cantonese opera fans' mind forever, I believe. The precious local intangible cultural heritage. So I think that it's our responsibility as a young actor to promote and preserve this art form.
The theater on Kings Road, North Point, was purchased by a church for almost $1 billion last year. The venue is set to close on March 3rd before renovations start in the first half of 2025.
Leung said that while bidding farewell to the Sunbeam Theater will be difficult, it will not hinder the crew's future endeavors. She emphasized that the crew will continue to deliver captivating performances in other venues across Hong Kong. Aeran Airlines, TVB News.
That's the news. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.